Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to listen to me talk with the amazing Greg Bottrill. If there is anybody that has inspired my journey to make play passion-led, purposeful, and for our children, it is absolutely Greg. And I'm so proud to have had Greg's support, to have had Greg enabling, sharing, pushing the petition out there for our children. This series of videos is called Petition Play Pal Chats with all the people that like P and like alliteration of P words because we're super playful. If you haven't yet signed it yet after this video, I promise you, you are going to want to go and sign it. You're going to want to share it. If there's somebody that has said to you, I don't really think, isn't it? They're just playing. Why do we need to sign that? You're going to know why to sign it. We can put the link here. If you don't know what it's for, it's to make play-based learning and continuous provision statutory in Key Stage 1. So thank you for joining me, Greg.
Not at all. No, it's a real pleasure. And like I said to you earlier on today, I'm just really proud of you of what you've been able to achieve and the momentum that you've kind of managed to garner. I think we're what, 10, you're like 10,000 signatures away now, something like that.
I think
Yeah.
we're about 8,000
Eight.
now.
Yeah. So if there's people out there watching this that have not signed it, it will take you 2 minutes. That's it. So you sign it and share it, and let's get this over the line because we're so, you're so close to making this happen. And as we all know, it does need to. It really does.
100%. For people who don't know you, would you just like to do a little introduction? Because I'd love to share your expertise, what you've done, your books, get it out there.
Yeah, well, very, very quickly. I used to be an assistant head teacher. I also led in early years. I've worked in all the different key stages too. And I'm also the author of several books. Probably the most widely read one is Can I Go and Play Now? My third one, Love Letters to Play, very much probably resonates with lots of the messages that you've been, sharing on your posts. It's very much about play and childhood being at the center of our vision. And I'm also the creator of stuff like Drawing Club and Adventure Island and all the stuff that I did with my children because I was determined to make sure that they had basically a life that was abundant with choice and adventure.
Amazing. And it's stuff that we want in every single school. That is the goal, that joy of drawing club and all of those wonderful things. Now, last week I received a message,
Mhm.
and this was the worst message I think I've received since starting this petition. It just absolutely made my heart sink. I'm just going to read a little bit of it out because I think what would be really powerful is if we talk about this message and why this trust is completely doing the wrong thing for our children, for child development, for everything that you know, that we know. So it says, I hope you see this and you don't mind me messaging. I currently work for a trust who has instructed this week that no schools are allowed to have provision in Key Stage 1. My current school has a fantastic setup, and the enhanced provision for the children is just fabulous and something we're proud of. It's also a purpose-built unit that was only finished within the last 3 years, but the external leadership were apparently unaware that this is something um, that existed essentially within their own trust. It's something that's been forced upon all the academies, like all the schools within the trust, with absolutely no explanation or reasoning. And then the lady goes on to say how she spent most of her career in Key Stage 1, feels super passionate, and was just sort of reaching out to be like, help, how do I
Mhm.
save the children? Thoughts?
Well, I mean, what a depressing message to receive. And again, those are people that are familiar with my work. I talk very much about two worlds. There's the world of the play people. The play people are those who are passionate advocates of childhood and play. They know that children need a rich diet of movement, grip, story, all of that. And then there's the other world, which is the adult world. And the adult world are those adults who unfortunately have congealed or abandoned their own inner child. And often it can be those people who make decisions for the play people. And you can already hear in that message how that that person that messaged you is being kind of eroded by by a force outside of what it believes in. And it feels like it's quite common. Might sound strange just to say, I'm also very compassionate towards the adult world because they lack imagination and I pity them. I
Hmm.
really do. They will never know the joy of play. They can't because they've abandoned it and they are driven by forces within themselves, ego, power, control. And that's what they want to bring to childhood because they don't understand it. They don't understand if you give children choice, it means you've got to make yourself vulnerable. Yeah, because that's what we do every day. If you're giving children play, if this petition, not say if, when this petition reaches its landmark number, the adult world is going to struggle because when children play, you don't know what they're going to do. You can't, otherwise it's not play. Yeah, you got some idea, but you're not fully going to know. And that's what the adult world finds so deeply triggering because it carries a wound inside of itself. And when you give children choice, it doesn't understand that. Yeah, because I can't control it and I don't know, I can't see, because it lacks the imagination, it lacks the curiosity. In fact, it will lack everything it will talk about in its school values. Yeah, you'll often hear the adult world talk about growth mindset. And I look at the adult world and I just think, well, where's yours? Where's your curiosity? Where's your creativity? You know, they're the kind of adults that will come into your classroom and go, just walk up to a 4-year-old and say, tell me what you're learning. Yeah, without any ability to even take a step back and take in and give children that opportunity just to, unearth what they're doing. It's that's why I feel compassionate towards them, because they're lost. They're absolutely lost, and they will never understand play. They can't because they can't feel it inside of themselves. Something has happened deep within them that they have masked and buried their own inner child.
Hmm.
And it's these kind of forces that come, and to get that, to hear that message, it's deeply troubling, because it's not just the erosion of play; it's the erosion of choice. And the adult world's very clever at using the word formal.
Hmm.
Yeah, they'll go, children need to be ready for formal learning. But what does that, when you unpick that word, what does it really mean? What it really means is we no longer believe in choice for children. That's what they really mean. Yeah, we no longer believe in creativity, and they'll just hide it all in the curriculum. Yeah, we've got a curriculum to deliver. Whereas if you look at people like the brilliant Tina Farr, the head teacher Tina Farr, hopefully people follow her on LinkedIn and on social media. She is proving that you can take play and choice and creativity and collaboration all the way through to key stage 2. It's
Hmm.
not it's absolutely possible. But Tina does it because she's in tune with this, her inner child. That's why it's like a disguised language that comes along and says, oh, we've got to be, this whole kind of readiness and this whole kind of, thing about formal learning. That's really what it means. It really means the adult world is afraid. I am afraid. I'm afraid of an authority figure, which is Ofsted,
Hmm.
who, by the way, could be wiped out in 5 years if everyone just stopped applying for jobs with them. I mean, it's just glaringly obvious. Just don't. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. It's like I don't know. Let's not get into that. But yeah, but it's all of that. Yeah. So the adult world responds out of fear
Yeah.
because they feel the pressure, but they have no ability to have the courage to make
Mhm.
themselves vulnerable.
And
That's what they'll
I
do.
read the fact that that teacher said it's come out of the blue.
Hmm.
No, what there's essentially been this knee-jerk reaction, and I
Yeah.
was like, do you genuinely think that these CEOs, these execs, are sat in their office and they've gone, oh God, that petition's got 80,000 likes now. Something's coming for us. We need to stop
Hmm.
play. Because that is
Hmm.
literally what's happened. Why else would a trust all of a sudden put a blanket ban on continuous provision and play-based learning within their key stage when this school has actually spent
Hmm.
money and time on a purpose-built
Yeah.
environment to just strip it away. And the thing that horrifies me the most out of all of these messages, like the words that you've just said are so powerful, talking about the adult world, talking about our inner child, talking about society as a whole, because actually this is about play, but it's so much bigger than that because
Hmm.
play is the solution to pretty much everything, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
Agreed. It is.
Every single problem that we have in our schools, in education, I can tell you how we can solve that through
Hmm.
play. The same for like wider society, mental health, that is truly, truly supported, and we can support children with their mental health when we allow them to play. Children have play therapy when they're at crisis point, when they have had something
Hmm.
super traumatic happen that they need time to process. But actually, if play was part of our classrooms day in, day out, the
Yep.
days when the children turned up to school and they were like, I'm ready to learn. I'm so engrossed in this. I'm going to build this today. I'm going to write this today. I'm going to do, they would do that. And then actually, those days when they turned up to school, something horrendous has happened. They've been pushed out the door. Their parents have had an argument. They've
Hmm.
slept on the floor that night. Whatever it is that these children go through, if they had play in their classroom, they would be able to process that if they chose to through their play in that
Absolutely.
moment. And so I truly feel like not only would this petition and the outcomes of that support our children's cognitive ability, and I truly believe that our test scores, that all of those things that we focus on so much in the long term would actually be better. But I think as a society, the adults that come out of this would be better placed to
Hmm.
thrive within
Absolutely.
within the world.
Hmm.
And when we're in a position where a lot of these people that are making decisions have chosen to remove their inner child or forget who their inner child is, those decisions they're making are just through an adult lens. They are with their adult head, who exactly you said, it's about control and they don't want to be vulnerable. And it's just heartbreaking, isn't it? That the way that they fight back against child development, what we know is right, is to pull it away completely.
Absolutely. And the thing is, just so people who are watching know, that, and I'm sure we all know this anyway, but there are good trusts out there. I work for some incredible ones. The Melrose Trust, for example, up in the Northeast, incredible. Like proper, like child development, joy, adventure at the very heart. They still have high expectations. Just because children are playing and choosing and creating and inventing and moving does not mean that somehow the teacher in the room is a stranger in a strange land. But what happens is with some organizations, what they want to do is they want to have a template. And I know this because I've talked to people who don't know who I am, who work for trusts, and they will tell me at conferences and stuff, they'll delight in how they have a model. They'll go around looking for schools, looking for weaknesses, and then they'll go in and go, right, we've got a template. If you follow this, you'll get good. So then we'll get good. So childhood's got nothing to do with it. It's good because now once I've got that, I can get the next school. It's a business model. Yeah, and the more businesses, yeah, because it's the commercialization of education. Childhood, it doesn't matter to them. It really doesn't. It's the acquisition of power, control, influence. And
Mhm.
lo and behold, once I've got that, now I can go up and now I'm an inspector. And now I'm even more congealed because now I believe that there is this good model. Yeah, and lovely, good, but good at what? What does that even mean? You can be good or outstanding, but you can actually, I would argue, do a terrible job for childhood. I do believe that. And if that's shocking for people and you don't agree with that, that's fine. But I know of outstanding places that I would not want to be in as a child. And I do think this comes back to that question. As an adult, would you swap places with the children in your classroom? And if the answer is no, then you are taking those children down the wrong pathway.
Mhm.
That's what you're doing. And for many of us, that pathway we're taking down, like the example you've shared with us, that is being enforced. Yeah, so actually, what's happening to the inner child of the adult, they are also having to go down that path. So, two things are now happening. The children and the adult are now kind of incongruent with the pathway that they really want to go on for the sake of, in inverted commas, outcomes.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, policymakers are going to make this absolutely double down on because we have the madness of 75% GLD as a target, which immediately is going to make sure play gets even more eroded. Because if we, as we know, one of the things reading, writing, and maths, well, certainly writing tends to be the one that in inverted commas lets children down. I mean, I hear that phrase a lot. Yeah. But so all that's going to mean is the adult world will go, well, we need to do more writing, we need to do more handwriting, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and they'll just erode play even more. And then you have the phonics screening check, 90%. It's wild. And like you said, all of this, all of it, all the play is healing. It's who children are. I say it a lot. Play is not a behavior, it's an identity. You cannot take it out of children. You absolutely can't. That's what they are here to do, to be who they are, and that is play. They are not here for the approval of adults. That is a hill I will happily die on. They really are not. They do not write for your approval. They do not do maths for your approval. They are not here for the green pen of an adult. Your job as a teacher, I believe, is to share the joy of who you are and the skills and unlock your children so that they can go and explore for themselves. That's what I passionately believe. And I know you do it, along the way, as many play people do. And that's why it's so lovely. You've managed to kind of get this momentum going and we're so, you're so close to getting that target. And again, it's just another opportunity. Please sign it, share it, because this is about reclaiming childhood. It really is. It really is.
Mhm. That's exactly what it is. Like if I had a goal, my goal is for children to be at the center of education, at the center of
Mhm.
schools, the center of our policies. Children. That's all. It needs to be reclaim childhood, put them back at the heart. And this is a start. This is a way to do it. And when we think about our neighbouring countries, Wales, Scotland, through their curricula in Key Stage 1, play is a part of that. In England,
Yep.
it isn't. So how does that even make sense? We talk about the amazing play paces like Finland, the Scandinavian countries, etc. But actually, the two countries right next door to us do protect play within their
Hmm.
curricula. So
Yep.
why is it just England that thinks, actually, do you know what? Our kids don't need that. Our children don't need developmentally appropriate practice. Our children are more than happy to sit at a table, listen to a teacher, learn off
Yeah.
a PowerPoint. There might be the occasional bit of collaborative teamwork, but the goal just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that is not what being a
No.
child in Key Stage 1 is about. And like we said, there are some fantastic schools that do this already because they want to, because they know it's best, because they have revolutionary, it shouldn't even be revolutionary, but they
No.
do have revolutionary head teachers that are saying, no, I'm 100% doing this. And I'm actually going to visit a few over the next few
Yeah.
weeks before
Amazing.
Christmas to
Yeah.
share to everybody. Like they've agreed that I can take videos, I can share on social media. So I'm going to walk around and I'm going to be like, if you still haven't signed, this is why you need to sign and share the actual reality of it. But again, why should that just be for some children, the lucky few? When I chose my children's school, the closest school to me that was the school that I would gold standard where I would like to
Mm.
send my child was 50 minutes away on a good day. There's no way I could put my child in the car for over an hour and a half every single morning and nighttime in traffic to get into school and back. Like, that is wild. Why
Yeah.
was there nothing at all closer to me? Like, we need this for all of our children. And one of the words that, if perhaps if you're a parent watching this, you might not be familiar with is continuous provision. How would you describe or imagine that? Like, help an adult to visualize what continuous provision is. What would I see in a classroom? How would the children feel? How is it different to a classroom that they would typically think of?
Well, I guess in its simplest terms, it's about choice. So it's about the adult recognizing that children need to have choices and are actually capable of making choices because they are, and having a range of what we might call variables. So junk modeling, Lego, drawing, clay, yeah, it's a whole range of stuff that children can interact with and ultimately invent and be creative with. Yeah, so rather than having a traditional classroom where, there's tables and the teacher stands at the front and all the children do the tasks for the teacher, there's the opportunity across the day for children to follow their own dream, to follow their own adventure. And again, if you're a parent, that's what you have to ask yourself. Do you want your child to know that they have a power within themselves? Because they do, and it's called play. It is a power that they have within them. Children are incredible at reimagining the world. They really are. So again, it's that unlocking of yourself as an adult to think back to your own childhood. What did you love to do? What could you reimagine? So, as we all know, many, many children, if you buy them, let's say a big present in a box, 9 times out of 10, they want to play with the box, not the toy, because the toy is already formed and does something. It doesn't really offer a great deal to children's imagination. Whereas an empty box offers infinity to childhood. That's why they want to play with it. So in its very simplest terms, it's about the teacher reflecting on the unique children in their room and providing a landscape for those children to choose, play, interact, invent, combined with moments of direct teaching. Yeah, it's not saying everything's got to be abandoned and you don't teach stuff to children. That's not the message. It's that blend where the teacher shares the joy of who they are. Here's phonics, for example. This is the joy of me. And now the children, you show me the joy of you through what you can invent. And wouldn't you know it, the more choice you give children, the more likely, well, this is what I believe, the more likely you are for children to want to apply the skills that you've taught them. Because you're giving them an actual purpose to do it. Rather than writing for the teacher, you write for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And writing is like a really great example of, a classic, typical lesson. I've chosen this book. We're all going to read this
Mhm.
book. We're all going to enjoy this book. We're all going to resonate with this book. And then we're all going to write a diary extract and have empathy for this character because
Mhm.
that is the character that I have chosen that all 30 of you are going to relate to and write and show off your
Yes.
best pieces of writing with.
Yep. Yep.
Or we can teach you a skill. You can then go off. You can then explore your own books. You can then explore your own things and create your own pieces of writing using those skills that you've just been taught. And that's the
But
beauty of childhood.
exactly, exactly. But the adult world cannot understand that because what it wants to be able to do is walk in. It has no curiosity because it can't. What it wants to do is walk in and go, right, I can see everyone sitting at a desk and everyone's writing the same thing, and now I can standardize everybody. Whereas if it unlocked itself and came back into dialogue with its own inner child, it would realize that actually children don't go to school full stop. They go to school to live. So what life are you giving those children? If it's just writing, I don't know, teaching instructions on how to write a jam sandwich, who cares? Nobody cares. A 5-year old, 6-year old do not care about writing instructions of a jam sandwich. They don't. They really don't. But if you teach them, like you're saying, here is how you write instructions, the adult sharing their joy. Now over to you. You can write instructions about what you've made, your da da da, whichever. Now you have joy. And I would argue what we need to do is connect children to the joy of the pen. It's an emotional thing. It's what I call companionship. The pen is a happy companion. It's no longer an object of shame, which is one of the dangers of this handwriting tsunami that's been sweeping across England because of the recent writing framework. And suddenly now every single drop of every single day has got to be about handwriting. Well, to my mind, it's a very quick route to turning this pen into an object of shame
Hmm.
very, very quickly. We have to be so careful with that, bearing in mind, just as an aside, it ain't statutory.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yet this is the thing, isn't it? Like one thing gets mentioned by one
Hmm.
person or one thing's dropped from the DFE and suddenly it's like this panic. How can we control that we're going to be good at this thing?
Hmm.
And that's the answer, but we need to fight against it. And for me, I always like to say that play will show you things your child is capable of that you didn't even know.
Absolutely.
And I could stand there and plan the most all singing, all dancing lesson. And I'm going to say, my children will come out of it and they will have achieved this and this and this. But the best lessons I've ever taught are the lessons where my children have shown me learning I didn't even anticipate.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
that is what we want to get through the petition. Make play-based learning statutory,
Yep.
continuous provision in the classroom, not an enrichment, not an add-on, not a nice to have, not a we'll play when the work is finished. Can I go and play now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
It is
all of
part
this,
of it.
all of it is because childhood does not end at 5.
Yes,
Yeah. So
exactly.
if you're a leader watching this and you believe, I'll say it, if you believe childhood ends at 5, you should be nowhere near children. Like you absolutely should be nowhere near them because you are eroding childhood. That's what you're doing. The moment you take choice away, collaborate, you may believe you have a lovely schemes and curriculum and you get your good, but all you're doing, childhood is paying a very heavy price for your good, your outstanding, and the next, template that you bring. It does not end at 5. It's a bit like the whole myth around in year 1, writing text types. Nowhere in the national curriculum does it say children need to write text types. But you hear of many, many places that insist on it. Now, to me, that is a failure of the teacher standards because you don't understand the national curriculum, and that is statutory. Nowhere does it say. It says children understand and read them. That's it. Doesn't say write them anywhere. It's wild. So schools also need to start looking at how they're not helping childhood. Yeah, we have to be allies to childhood, not to policymakers.
Mhm.
We know there's pressures. That's obvious. We know there's pressures. But as adults, we have to look inside ourselves and go, what courage do I have that I can bring so I make sure childhood does not pay the heaviest price and has to abandon itself for the approval of the adults? And that then comes back to you as an adult on your own inner child. What are you here for? Are you here for the approval of adults? Are you here because you're a unique person and you're passionate and you have a vision? And that vision is based on your unlocking of who you are and saying to yourself, if I was in my reception class or year 1 or year 2, what would I give this out of 10 this day? Because if you said, well, it's just a 2, you need to turn the ship around,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
love that. That is such an easy way for people to reflect. So if you're a teacher, rate how you'd feel as a 6-year-old in your class. As a parent, rate how your child is feeling, because you'll know through the
Hmm.
conversations you have, through your child's behaviors, how your child is. Ask them about the joy. And you just know, don't you? You just know a child that has had a joy-filled day and a
Absolutely.
child that has been doing what they have to all day. They're two
Of
very
course.
different children.
They are. They absolutely are. And it's why I do believe there should be a culture where we ask children more about their experiences. It's a
Mm.
little bit like I have something called Mr. Plop, which is like an approach in with very young children,
Mm.
and one of them is where part of it is the book ban books that go home, Sam's Pot and all that nonsense. Um, and the idea is that children tell the teacher if that book band book was in Mr. Plop's shop, he has a shop, if it was in a shop, how much would you sell it for? Or how much would you buy it for? And it's an amazing way to find out how much your children value the book band books that they have to trudge through. Because when you begin to actually ask children, it's about writing like a TripAdvisor review. Yeah, what would you give this day? And if they don't give it 10 out of 10, then it's the adult that's got to do some thinking, not, oh, I need to do more formal, da da da, yeah, all of that stuff. It's actually about liberating yourself.
And
Work it out.
that's it. Like that is absolutely, it is liberating yourself. And we've only got 5 minutes left because I
Hmm.
don't have paid for Zoom.
It's all good.
Reality of working on a petition instead of my own job. But oh goodness, now we've got 5 minutes and now I've forgotten what I was gonna say. Carry on. I'm sorry. It'll come back to me.
Well, one thing I will just mention very quickly is some people may already know. If you go onto my website, which is canigoandplaynow.com, there's a giveaways page, and on there you'll find something called the Magic Mirror. And the Magic Mirror states 10 things that childhood wants. And it's like a tick list, and you just go through each day, each week, however often, and you tick how many you've given children. And if you've scored 8, 9, or 10, the Magic Mirror says keep going. You've added to childhood. If you scored 1, 2, or 3, the magic mirror is telling you that you have eroded childhood. That's what you're doing. Yeah, our accountability is not to the government. It is not. I know it is in inverted commas, but your real accountability is to childhood. Because those children you're sending them into the future, and all those messages that you're giving them, they are going to carry with them.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. And that is why we need to play, because play is who children are. It is healing. Being tasked by the teacher is not healing. There is time for there are moments where the teacher may want to do that kind of thing. They may, if that's what you believe in, but not as a whole diet. Children need a rich, abundant movement, choice, joy, connection, collaboration, all of that stuff. If I'm 54, if someone said to me now, go back into school, would I really want to go? Would I really want to go and spend the whole day being told what to do and frog marched around and da 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 da? These schools exist. I know they do. There are many schools. Again, I'm not school bashing because there are many, many brilliant schools, jam-packed with brilliant teachers. I go around collecting head teachers. It sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it? But I do. If I meet head teachers, I put them on my collection because it tells me it's possible. There's a
100%.
myth about these pressures, the
100%.
curriculum.
Yeah.
No, it's your inner child, your inability to imagine and go inside of yourself, address what trauma you have inside of yourself about power and control, deal with that, now come back to childhood as a companion.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you need to do.
The magic mirror, everyone needs to go and do that. That sounds like we can get teachers all across the country doing that and parents filling it in. And I just think
Mhm.
that'll be really, really powerful. You also need to go and sign the petition if you haven't. You need to
Definitely.
share the petition. You need to share this video with everybody so that we can get the message out even more because actually we want it to be statutory. If it's
Yep.
not statutory, that's what we're aiming for. You can still do this. Your head
Yep.
teachers can still do this. And that is going to be a win. it doesn't take the government to make the change. Imagine if we made the change without them. Imagine if you watch this right now and you go and do it anyway for our children. That is the
Yeah.
goal. We don't have to wait. And I remembered what I was going to say just really quickly because we've got 1 minute left. I was a deputy head teacher. 5 years ago, I would not be here doing what I do because I was in the system. And it can be very, very difficult sometimes
Yep.
when you're in the system to feel like you've got that liberation that you were talking about. But I promise you, it is inside you. I promise you, that is what our children need. And if I can help you or inspire you to just do one thing for your children, it's sign the petition, it's have that conversation, it's try and get play into your school. Thank you so much for joining me,
No
Greg. It's
problem.
been an absolute pleasure. Anything else you want to say? You've got 1 minute left.
No, I mean, just other than, again, it's like encouraging people to sign the petition, to thank you for, all the energy and vision that you've brought to stuff. We are so close to getting this over the line. And I mean, we collectively, all the 90 odd thousand people that signed it, we just need this final little chunk of people. Let's get it over the line and let's get childhood. Let's make childhood great again. There you go. You can have a Trumpism to finish off with.
I love
Let's make childhood
it.
great again. Because goodness me, children need it. They really, really do.
They do. Thank you ever so much, and
You're welcome.
I'll speak to you soon.
Take care now.